I got a message from somebody. Hey, good morning, Kevin. Man, I got to tell you, the more I think I know, the more I realize I don't know. I don't know if this is what growth feels like or ego death, but man, I can see just how much work you have put into bringing the content that you do. The motivation for this message was I got to connecting with somebody on Instagram, like Catholic discussions, and this guy is a Catholic, and we've kind of been going back and forth like a good discussion, not anything rivalrous or anything. And he's brought up the Council and the Crusades and stuff like that I really don't know about. So I've been kind of doing some digging. It's interesting because the digging I'm doing, you get so many perspectives, and I'm trying to learn about these things, and I just don't know anything. Now, that's a really great place to start. If we could get some more people that'd be like, hey, I just don't know, that would be great. We would be doing great if people could just admit this and going back to having a beginner's mind on things. And then I've got this other friend that I reconnected with from when I was like 19, a musician guy that got me started playing guitar. Now he's in Sedona, Arizona. Seems pretty spot on with a lot of new age type vibe, Used to be a Christian, walked away from the faith, and, claims that he's gone beyond Christianity, bashing Christianity, and seems like he's seems to be lost in, I don't know, man, like a lot of different things. Okay. And so I think a lot of stage 3 people, when you start growing in Christ, and you, like, if you're using Fowler's stages of faith and you look at the 6 stages that he presents, as you start getting into stages 4 and 5, the stage 3 people think that you're becoming like this. They think you're just aimless and wobbly and insecure and unsteady and have nowhere to go, and you're unmoored, that kind of thing. And that's not really a criticism. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot that can be done about people feeling that way, but just have to understand that not everybody is that way. I get people think that that's me sometimes. That's definitely not me. So, all these interactions have been causing me to try to learn more. I'm having conversations with these individuals, and I'm just realizing I don't know much at all. Well, that's a great place to start. So I don't even really know what the point is of this message, other than just, it's like I struggle. And this is a voice message, okay? So this is written. I transmitted this to text. Struggle in my quest to better understand where someone is, where someone's at. Don't like any of those phrases and prepositions like that. That's just me, though. I'm trying to understand where they're at, and not even knowing about the sources of where I am. I'm sorry I messed this up, trying to figure out where these people are and some of the things that have influenced them, and these things are bringing up in conversation. So the more I research, the more I just keep finding different opinions. Okay, there you go. Right. So you kind of feel like there's just this plethora of information out there, and there's no way to tell whether or not anything is true or solid or founded or moored properly. So he says, I'm just wondering if you have any advice on kind of navigating this type of situation where I'm, just trying to generally have an authentic interaction, and I just feel like it's almost like I'm in over my head. And maybe this is growth. Maybe I'm just in over my head. I don't know if you have any thoughts. Man, but this is also causing me to realize, wow, like, your content's gold. I think, man, Kevin really does put a lot of work into this stuff. So there's this message from this person, and I want to answer some of this. I actually answered him that day, but I'm going to share my answers with you because I think they're relevant and valid. I think I get a lot of these kinds of questions from people, so I want to answer some of these. Okay. So my response, I would say yes, that's growth. That's realization that the more we learn, the less we know, brings a humility with it that pulls us to be genuinely interested in what other people's perspectives and journeys are. I get the sense that you want to be open and learn and explore and interact in good faith, but that perhaps one could become unmoored from being properly oriented and become misled, and that is a good concern. It's a good concern. The fact that you have that concern, you didn't word it that way, but that's what I think I'm hearing, is a good sign. And for those of you out there who have these similar questions that you voiced to me, it is a good concern that you're worried about how unstable or untethered you might feel or be. That's a good worry, good concern. I also appreciate the recognition of the effort that gets put into the content, because it is a lot of effort. Okay, I go back and as I was putting together the reading list, there's just so much. Putting together the links list, there's so much info, and we've come so far over the years building onto things. And so telling people how to recreate what I've done, it's not exactly a formula to it. And that's one of the questions people have been asking me too, like, what steps should I be taking? So I said, I'm considering my own experience in light of what you said here. So to me, regarding Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning and Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces, arguably it's the same book, iterations of the same book. I think Jordan Peterson's even said this. It was very confirming to me that the pattern of Christ is at every fractal level, the pattern of the flow of reality. And that is the big clue for how to orient oneself in the world and toward the construction of their future self, right? So I think when you're familiar with the abstract pattern of Christ, the life, a life well led, a life examined, order, disorder, reorder, the voluntary adoption of responsibility for something that is not your fault, and the disorder comes with injustice and failure, okay, and high cost, right? And when Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me. And so when, like Jordan Peterson, after I kind of hit like maybe spiritual rock bottom, if you will, I was looking for things myself. Jordan Peterson and Joseph Campbell, these kinds of people helped me see that, because to me, everything was on the table. I was willing to let go of every belief I had in anything and re-examine from the start, which is what I did. And as I was searching and scouring and devouring, what I found is that the pattern of Christ is the quintessential archetypal pattern of all of reality at every level, at the macro, at the micro, and fractal, and in all between. And it's like, I hate to use the word recommitment, because we're not talking about like walking down the aisle at a stage 3 Mammon church and making a virtue signaling show in front of people. But it's like, I feel like I discovered Christ for the first time. I feel like I started seeing Christ. I feel like I started experiencing Christ and living Christ. It is a different thing. And there are some other things that happened as well. But it was very reconfirming to me to look at things from the mythopoetic narrative aspect and see that this pattern of Christ is everywhere. It's in Pinocchio, it's in The Lion King, it's in Star Wars, it's in The Little Mermaid. What's the latest thing we were just talking about? Somebody in our channel brought up on FSI Wednesday night, they brought up some stuff from Hinduism, right? And everyone's, some people will freak out because, oh, that's a different religion, that kind of thing. And I'm like, whatever's true is true. And I'm not saying Hinduism is true. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, think about the idea that a lot of religions just evolved, and these people are trying to piece together what base reality is. And it's interesting to see what they came up with. And they have a version of the Trinity, and then there's multiple layers of other aspectual things that are related to the version of their version of the Trinity, that it's connected to, what me and Nick have been looking into, imminent domain metaphysics lately, which sees all of reality as a Trinity. It's not written by a Christian, but I think it's the best argument extant in the world on the Trinity. If I was ever in doubt about whether or not the Trinity was a good idea or not, this has settled the issue for me. But you see these things fractally. Now, I watched a video by Derek Webb. I thought about doing a separate video on this, and I probably will, but I watched a video with Derek Webb, and he made a really good point. Somebody sent this to me, by the way. Somebody sent me a video on Derek Webb. It's not like I'm just sitting around looking at Derek Webb videos. Not like it would matter if I was, right? But somebody sent this to me, and they said, start it at this certain minute mark. And Derek Webb said, In order for something, he's like, we treat Christian, I'm paraphrasing here from memory from several days ago, so I may be getting this wrong at the precise level, but you get the idea. He said, we treat things like they're Christian, like there's Christian music and there's Christian books and there's Christian movies, but none of those things are Christian. In order, like a person can be Christian, I can be Christian. In order to be Christian, you have to have a soul that needs to be saved. A piece of paper, a book, the music that you listen to, it doesn't have a soul that needs to be saved. It doesn't have any of that. It's not Christian. It is you, the Christian, who make it Christian. It is up to you, the Christian with a soul, that can, and now I'm elaborating here myself. It's up to you, it's up to me and you to take what is available to us. Like if this is a Christian book, then it's not a Christian book unless I, as a Christian, incorporate it into my Christianity. Now, that being said, since things that are labeled Christian aren't really Christian because they don't have a soul, what that also means is that if I have enough discernment, and that's key, I can actually take anything and figure out an angle or a way or something. I can glean something from anything and bring it into my Christianity. I can see something from The Lion King or from Star Wars or from Pinocchio and bring it into my Christianity.